Bonjour, Ponji, and welcome to another episode of Bungi Beat. You're, of course, with your host, Alexandria Anthony, and I want to wish each and every one of my listeners a very Merry Christmas. Meya Manito Okisikaw, and that is Merry Christmas in Michif. And I'm well, you butt. Of course, our standard Bungi, the Red River Dialect greeting, taken directly from Cree. And before we get into today's episode, folks, I really want to give you something, a little bit of food for thought. And this is an interesting correlation. Scotland has always been a very multilingual country, although two major homegrown languages, Gaelic and Scots, have been marginalized for centuries, folks. School children were told not to use the languages they spoke at home in the classroom, and they were sometimes, wait for it, folks, beaten. They were beaten for doing so. Both children and adults alike were shamed for using their mother tongues. Does that sound familiar? Because it sure sounds familiar to me, folks. You know, the first thing that comes to my mind is residential schools in Canada. You were forbidden for using your native tongues in school, folks. And it's also interesting that the Educational Act in Scotland, of course, in 1872 introduced compulsory schooling for children across Scotland, but excluded the teaching of Gaelic. And this, of course, was hugely damaging to the use and the promotion of the language. And the teachers were told to ban Gaelic in schools and playgrounds. And following the introduction of this act in 1872, children caught speaking Gaelic were belted. And another interesting fact, it's interesting to note that the very complex of languages within the region of Red River truly fascinated the American consul James W. Taylor. And in later years, he often recounted the experiences of his first month in the Red River settlement in 1859. On one Sunday, for example, he heard Latin and French at St. Boniface. The next Sunday at St. Peter's Indian Settlement, a full-blooded Indian, Reverend Henry Cochrane, delivered a very eloquent discourse in Cree, and the third Sunday in Kildonan, the sermon was in Gaelic. And also interesting is in a 1955 article, I quote, St. Andrews, the Retired Fur Trader's Paradise, end of quote, by Barbara Johnston, says that Bungi was a dialect or form of speech that was resultant in the children of Orkinen or Scottish fathers and Cree mothers. So you see the correlation there, even being across the pond in regards to Scotland's languages, Gaelic and Scots being marginalized for centuries. The children were forbidden from speaking these language in the school, the playground, and it's very, very sad. You see the similarities between the residential schools in Canada and what happened prior in Scotland. So you see the similarities. I'm going to go into some Bungi words because there's a lot of people, a lot of listeners have been sort of asking to break down some of the words so you can get an understanding of Bungi. And let's get into some of the words. Afore is before. And that's used a lot in Frank Walter's stories. And back and fore is back and forth. Bag is a cow's udder. Barm up is bloating or distending of stomach due to gas. Bed lunch is a snack before bedtime. Again, that's used in Walter's stories. Big heat is a good fire. Again, used in Walter's stories. Black fellas is lice. Boiled shirt is biled sart. And it was a white shirt for Sunday and dress up wear. Box is a coffin, and again used in Walter's stories. Boys is boys, used in Walter's stories. Bush puppies is wild rabbits. Bustin is cracked wheat roasted and cooked as porridge. Again, used in Walter's stories. Butt is the end of a small haystack. Again, used by Walters. Byre is a cow shed. So in each episode moving forward, we're going to list some of these words here so there's a better understanding on what Bungi is really, really all about. And, now we're going to go into, again, my favorite part of the show, folks. And it's just, I have to really give kudos to Frank Walters because it's just incredible. His way before his time again. And he's just an incredible historian. And we're going to go back into some of his recordings. And I must add that Frank J. Walters, his recordings can be heard through the University of Manitoba Archives Special Collection and Manitoba School Boards. So we're going to get right into it, folks, and I really hope you enjoy it. Again, we have Frank Walters.
In the settler's life. Things I heard along the road. At daybreak this morning, I wakes up with a start. I'd been thinking about my trip to the fort for the last hour or so, and then I guess I dozed off. I'm thinking this soft bed's hard to leave, but I'm gotta do it if I'm gonna make the round trip to the fort and back same day. I'm gotta get it going. So I gives the missus a sec to wake her up. She gives her eyes a rub, and I say, "Are you listening now?" I gives her special instructions how to feed the spotted calf. And while I pull on my homespun pants, and I says, I'd leave the mixture in a pail along the stove, and she could warm it up and give it to him, and let him take it slow and easy. I always gives my calves warm feed when they're little. And when they're big, I give it to them that way, like. Give it to them slow and easy, but I told her, 'cause I don't want them getting on them skitters, else they may die on me. All she had to do after that was to throw some feed to the animals, and today she could let them drink at the water hole out back instead of drawing water up from the well with a bucket, I told her. That takes too long when she has other things to do, I told her. And I was trying to say these things as quiet like as I could. So was little Mary sleeping behind the curtain, not to wake her up like. I start to go down, and I see the head poking out. "You rascal, you," I says, "it's early for you to wake up. Jump back in and have some more sleep now," I says. But she only says to me, Can I take a ride with you, Grandpa? No, I got put in the state quarter this time, how to answer a ride. So he says to her, there's no place for you to ride on a lot of wood. You'd fall off into the gutter along the rod, and I told her, but so only says, I could sit on your knee, Grandpa. Now I could see right away this wasn't good enough. And I wasn't sure what they had up at the Fort store, but anyhow I told her, if she stayed home and helped her granny, I'd bring a dolly for her very own. Now with that, she gives me a kiss, and she goes back to bed. And I wondered, what if they're not got no dolly? What then? I'll have to take a chance on that happening, but... Now down in the kitchen, I started up a fire in the cook stove, and to save time, I put on the porridge to be cooking. And when the missus comes down, she can finish up while I'm feeding up at the barn. I calls up to her, where'd you put that length of strapping? I need it to tie on my hay bundle for the oxen to chew on when I stop along. Oh, she says, it's hanging by the door in the shed. Don't let it bite you. On your way out, she says. She's always cleaning up and moving things. That's why I have to ask her all the time. Now, after yesterday's blow, it's a fine warm day out and a fine day for traveling in. But in the sun, warms up a fella, he might get pretty drowsy and fall off in his load. Now, that's what happened to Willie Mort, and besides being covered in mud and gutter, the wheel passed over his foot and smashed it up pretty bad. Anyhow, he's been limping around ever since, mind you. So I think I'll take along old John James with me for someone to talk to, so as if when one falls asleep, the other one can grab him back up like, you'll see. Now I take a deal of pride in my yoke of oxen. They're a matched pair out of the same cow. One of them's a little slower though. And if I prod him too much, he gets ornery and balky and he stops altogether. Then nothing will do but leave him be to bide his time until he gets over the notion. Now on this trip, I'll have to be patient and leave him be, or else I'll not get to where I'm going until it's too late. Now during the winter, my oxen's hooves, they grow long, and last week I pared them down to stage, and I taked off their shoes. They shouldn't get sore-footed on the wet road this trip. Later on, I'll have to put back on their shoes, ready for when the time the mud gets hard like. Now, just to tease my neighbors and make them envy me my fine team of oxen, they polish up their horns and comb out their tails with a currycomb. Then they're all ready to hit the trail for the fort. And while they're eating, I make for the house and find breakfast all ready and steaming. The missus is a good one for getting things done, and she sure knows her stuff. Besides busting cooking this time, she heated up some pemmican. She says that's the last bale we're got, and she cut into it to make a lunch for me and all John James, if they'll go. We can chew on that and some hardtack she scrounged up when we stop along to boil a kettle. That kind of grub will stick with a fella and keep him going for a long time. While we were supping, she told me if she said what she wanted over and over again, then I might remember what she wanted me to bring back from the fort. Now, indeed. This habit of hers worked, 'cause I could hear ringing in my ears calico, gingham, stitching cotton, and buttons, 2 colors, white and black, if I had them kind. And of the cloth stuff, bring 4 yards each kind. Now, teasing again, I says to her, better I should bring 1 more yard each kind, 'cause she's been putting on weight lately. Then next year, she can fit her dresses better, for sure. Or, she says, don't pop fun at me. Watch out for yourself. Well, I says, I'd better go and hit up now and give my team a drink. You can shut the gate, and I won't have to come down off of my log of wood if you do that, I told her. I'm all ready now, and I says to the auction, ah, and they start off slow and easy like, and they turn around and says waving me. So I wave her back and settle down to a long ride, never mind. Starting off, there's a shortcut through the bush. It's rutted up for the bad, although, thinks me, my team is fresh, so I try it. And come along John James's place, beyond side that off bluff, about a mile away. He won't be expecting me, and I may have to roast him out, and that'll take time. I tripped through the bush, it come off all right. My luck held out this time. But I found John James finishing up his chores. He says to me, "Bye, are you going up?" "Sure," I says. "That's what I'm here for, to get you to come along. Are you game to do that?" I says. "Sure," he says. "I've got nothing special to do anyhow," he says. "So I might as well as take a ride. And I want to see what they're doing up at the fort anyhow," he says. "I hear there's some of these soldier fellas stopping there, just now. And they come there ask fall and all dressed up in fine red coats. I wonder what they want," he says. "That I'd like to see is the dog teams coming in, unloading their furs," I says. "It's too late for that now, Butterlow. The snow's all gone away." Now I was thinking I'd have to pick up my jag of hay coming back. So he says to John James, "Hurry up now. We're wasting time gabbing here." So he comes a-running. He doesn't have to wave nobody, 'cause his deceased wife lays over to the stone church along the river. She died and left him one stormy day, and she told him she'd see him later on if he gets away there. Now making it along the trail he was his back to the road was better going, and we had no trouble. We both are sitting comfortable like on the top side of a lot of wood and ready for our trip we had to make. That if John James doesn't get the yarning, and if old Dan doesn't take a turn to get balky, we should make the round trip by a little after sundown. He says he listens to everybody, and they talk. That's how he knows so much about what's happening up and down the country. We get off to a good start, and we're making good time, clipping off the miles, and John James begins talking. And nothing will do but I listen. So I sit back and keep quiet. He's telling me about his cattle and about a goat he's got. Seeing this goat come up the stairs into the loft and eats the tugs off the harness hanging up. He got this harness from a fellow in town, and was keeping it to use when he could get a horse. The tugs are gone now, but so he felt like killing the goat and eating it. Now, the smell of a goat is supposed to keep sickness away from the other animals, but and he used to be a kind of a pet, so he said he'd leave him be this time. That never stopped him from saying a few cuss words all the way every time he thought about his fine harness. Now, we talked some more about a few other things, and I noticed all Dan getting restless like. John then says, "It's no wonder he's acting up. Look up at the sun," he says to me. "It's bright up over. Already it's time for our lunch." So I'm with the oxen and water them with the nearest water hole. And I always train them for a drink before they eat and after they eat. Gives them a better chance to take some more if they wanted. Now after we boil a kettle and take it easy for a spell, it's good to stretch out after taking all the books and putting on a lot of wood. Now after it starts off again and put some leaves around the trees, put a water and put these rushes starting up. You know the cane what the Indians make doormats out of. John James says they call this stew McNichol's stew, because an old fella called that rooster top here. He's dead now, but he says. "Oh," he says, "and how do you happen today?" I says, "John James says a tree fell on him when he was out in the bush and cutting. And it was out in the cold, and down and he falls stiff, all hunched up like that. And there happened to be two fellas passing, and they noticed him laying there. So they dragged him into his cabin and put on a big heap in the box stall and sat Saul McNichol on a bench in front of the fire. Well, they both got drowsy from the heat, and they dozed off. And didn't the corpse go and fall off on the bench, bang, onto the floor. And Joshy Phillips, and I forget the other fellow's name, didn't he get such a start, their hair was sticking right up, mind you. And when they're telling people about that, people would laugh. But they never found it funny. Now, after a few more bends in the trail, after we started off again, up on a knoll, there's a log barn. Look at it from one side, it looks long. Look at it from the other side, it looks short. John James says there's an all-fellow shade there they call Stampy, what has big bushy eyebrows. John James says he must have been trained to see past them like when he measured out the logs. The barn's so teeny he gets 10 head along one side and only 8 head along the other side. Ninja. At the next bend in the trail, they could see the quarter head. It will not belong to come along the stone wall with it a great opening in, John James says. He's been there before, so he knows his way around. But he never seen these soldier fellas around the honest to see hello. Now the gate was hopping, but two of the soldier fellas were standing stiff-like, one on each side. When they seen us coming across, they standed in the middle to block us from going inside. But they separated again after they seen we were supposed to go inside. Now inside the court, there's people all around, and the soldiers are there all right enough, marching up and down, and some standing behind a cannon, ready to touch it off like, practicing up, I guess. My partner says, goodness sake, I can't make out what they're doing. I better ask around. Well, you can do that after you help me unload my wood first, I told him. Then you may same, I told him. Now a fellow comes up to us, and he says to stack the wood along the roundhouse in the southwest corner over there, he says. Now I see when I come first, there were some Indians camped outside the wall, and there's dogs laying all over, and smoke coming out the hall in the top of the teepee. They didn't seem to be in a hurry to get back to where they come from. They never had no canoe around. So maybe they was going to slip out on one of them York boats. They was talking to one fellow finishing up one of them York boats, making it inside the stone wall. Same as some of the words he used, but I couldn't make them out when he said that to me. This was his first winter in the country, he told me, and he talked like they talk in the Orkney Isles, where he come from. Inside there, I seen a couple of squaws squatting down, contented like, mocking away at their pipe. I was sure it was this stuff the Indians call kinnikinnick, because I knowed that willow smell, and I spotted it right away. I said, how to one of them, and she says to me, what people here walks to a Nushatun? White man with a beard, she said. Then she laughed. There was workmen working on a stone building. They had stones laying all around, same kind as I seen in the river before. All around there is the smell of furs and a kind of a mixture of animals and grease, all mixed up like. And I asked about that, and one of them showed me the fur house, stacked to the roof with fur, all baled up like and ready to send on the washing day. There's a thing in there what presses them together tight like, and as you turn a screw, it presses them flat that way. I never seen no governor around, but they call him. Somebody said he was away out in his tunnel. But Next, I started in to buy the things I promised to bring for the missus. That's what I was thinking I'd better do first, and get the other things after. Well, some I got and some I didn't because the boss brigade hadn't come in yet from bringing new stuff from York factory away north that way. And stuff here is getting pretty short. I got a dolly and my powder and shot, and I think the missus is going to be satisfied with what I got for her. But I couldn't get enough beads for Sarah's mother-in-law. The Indians had pretty well cleaned them out for stitching flowers on their moccasins and leggings. Now, it's about now I seen John James coming across the mess, and I told him, and hitching up now to take off. And he said he found out about the soldiers, and he wanted to tell me right there and then, Major. But I says to him, tell me later on our way home, I told him. Time's pressing, and we're not got much of left. If we never get going soon, we'll be traveling in the dark. Oh, ho, he said. Then he shook hands with everybody on our way out. We took a bit different trail this time to come along the marsh where my hay is. At first, as it towards the bank, and here we seen people out in boats looked like they was fishing. John James says them soldiers done a lot of walking and boat riding to get here from away east that way. They thought trouble was brewing in these parts, but it petered out, and they never used none of them. Not much anyhow, as far as he could make out. John James says the soldiers are having a pretty good time waiting around. One of them told him, in a room where they keep the liquor, the barrels are stacked up to the floor under their bed, like. And some of the fellows had straws through a hole, like, into the barrel, and they could suck up the liquor, rum, I guess it is. This is why they're feeling so good. Well, they must be feeling good, I says, to tell them your secret like that. Now, the oxen, they're rested up a little, and the rod is lighter now, so we're making good time moving along. And it looks as if we may make it back home before darkness, unless it starts to raining or something. There's a few clouds around, and it may take nothing to come spilling down. But I don't want no rain for a long time, me, for my part. And John James says, if it never rains no more, it'll be ever so much too soon to suit him. Right about here along the bank is where they have their picnic. In my younger days, I went to a few of them. The pigs had their races laying their legs together that way and running on three legs like, and trains jumping along in a sack till they fell over like. The women would run along with an egg in a spoon and try not to drop it. Lots of times none of them would get to the other end with their egg. Then one would hold a needle that way, and one would run up and try and poke a thread through the hole. Have to run back to the other end like, the first one to make it, wings like. The man would pour grease on a little stick, then chase them around and try and catch them. There was one fella, Johnny, had a way all of his own that he'd come up hanging onto the pig every time ahead of the others. And football games, oh, that is something to watch. And then one time watching one, the stage was about even. They done everything except chewing each other's ears off. There's one big tail up in the corner, and thinks me, anybody is lucky to come out of that alive. But at the end, now, here's Colin standing all alone like, holding onto the ball, chawing on a plug tobacco, and his mouth full of tobacco juice. Now, nobody dasn't come close till he left fly. So he spits it out, I bet you 10 feet or more, and he says to the nearest one to him, "You're not can do it, Julie." And he puts the toe of his beef juice to the ball, and the ball lands slap in the goal at its other end. We're all running down the field chasing it, but they're too late. May, I found that funny. And sitting straddle a pole, trying to knock each other off with a pillar. That was another one they had fun with. Now up ahead, there's 2 or 3 houses thrown up. The one who lives in between, I know him. They call him Long John, I guess, 'cause he's so tall he bumps his head in the doors around. Like, and he's some kind of a man with the Indians, the boss or something. And he wears this blue suit with fancy buttons on it, and a medal the Queen Mother gave him forever and ever till the sun stopped shining, people say. Now, John James says he knowed his father, and he had an accident once. He told his boy to charge up his muzzleloader and have it ready to go out and get a chicken. There's only each plane what has a place in the middle for to put a ramrod in, and the boy stuck a charge in that. Well, the old man took off for a hunt, and he ups and fires at a bird. Bang! And didn't both barrels go off same time and pitched them over? And while he's laying there, didn't the gun kick him again, man? Now he's pretty good at the gun, although, John James says. He was out shooting, he says, and he runs sort of shot, but loading upward. So he packs in a lot of these long, flat nails he had in his pocket, just to be ready like. He's walking along, and all at once, he sees a brushwood crossing in front of him. Like. So he ups and fires, bang, again. Now the bush is, at this stage is pretty thick. So after the smoke clears away, he looks around, and here's Mr. Wolf nailed to a tree manger. Oh, John James, I said. I'd have to swallow pretty hard to believe that, I told him. He says that's what he heard, anyhow. Now, pretty soon we'll be in the marsh where my head is, and I was thinking, maybe this is a good place to get my rats. I was around full of weakness, and they should be fat eating that stuff. And I should get a bunch in no time, that's if I can get away. I noticed a few stains, beavers and mink around here too. And a fellow gets onto the stains that little animals leave laying around, and you can tell pretty well what they're doing and how sick they are around there. And I said that to John James, and he says to me, now it's too bad little animals can't read things, 'cause he remembers trapping one time, and he come along a stain with an arrow pointing to a trap that way, and he said on it, musquash, go this way. It is put there by this candy in a jock. He's always cutting up like this in lots of ways. Poor fellow, he got drowned in a lake away west that way, John James says. He heard somebody say that. Well, soon me at my hay butt, and I was thinking maybe I'll not get it all on this trip. It's getting pretty bad, and it bulks up when you fork it loose. And I only got on a few poles to tail the hay on. And if I can't make it, I'll come out again with my hair axe and clean it up. Well, I forked on a bunch, and since I had John James along with me, I got him to crump it down good. And it come as a surprise to me. I got it all on me, to the last straw even. So I tied my load down tight with a rope so the bouncing won't take it off on you. And in case your load tips over, you can snatch onto the rope with your team and pull it back over. Now, John James says, you can stretch out and take it easy for itself. Well, I'll not be able to take you up home today, I told him, and not get my team to move over the yard once they get there. Oh, that's all right, never mind, he says. After I eat some grub, I'll walk up, he says. My animals will be looking for me anyhow. Like, well, if you don't think you can make it, the missus will spring up a curtain and you can bed down alongside our bed, I says. Now that settled, we felt quiet, listened to the crows calling. They make such a clatter looking for a getting down, and I still had a piece to go. And by this time, I was getting a nice filler. So I got hot putting on my log, and I didn't feel comfortable there. Anyhow, away to the east, a bunch of wolves are making such a fuss, howling over something. The air is full of noises, and an old sidespoke is honking, sounded like his sound box was rusted. So I fixed up when I prodded my team a little, taking a stance on all Van Dam getting bopped. By now, I could see my host, so I thought I'd give him a tray, and I prodded him again. Now, I guess my officer knowed they was near and home because they speeded up a little, and pretty soon we're at the yard. John James jumps off and opened up the gate, and little Mary seen us and come running. John James, he stuck up his arms and take her up. Now, right away she wanted to know what his boss for. I told him, boss, to go inside, and I'd show him when I come in after I put my team away. Now, when I come to the house, the missus said she'd been watching for us to arrive back because she's got a hot supper waiting. So I'll sit in and they stuff ourselves. And all this time, the missus and little Mary is on and get us a party. This is why they balking down their supper supply. Now, I was trying to answer, too, to see if I'd made any mistake on any of the stuff I had brought. At last, the boss opened up everything, and it turned out the boss let out a holler, and it made me feel pretty proud to know I could do my shopping so good. Now, after that's over, he gets up, and John James said he'd roof it up back. No, he felt better eating the wife's good cooking. So I told him goodbye, and I thanked him for helping me that way. Now, the missus had most of the chores done up, so he never had much to do after supper this time, except to cast away all the stuff I'd been brung home from the fort, like flour and raw and one stuff or another. Now, little Mary take her dolly to bed with her. It was only rag, even one the squaw made, but we could hear her singing at the sleep spot. It made me and the missus feel better to know she was happy that day. And after talking over my visit to the fort, we fell to making a few plans about what we had to do for the next few days. And I was thinking I'd like to go and dig snakes up, if it was only later in the summer. I heard up there that they had to chip a lot out, and a fella can make a pretty good at digging if he stuck with it. That vinegar is used for medicine of some kind, and lots of people use it. The missus says it'll wait for a spell after it warms up when the flowers come out. It's easy to spot like that. Let it go first, she says. Now, I'd like to try it again and help out. Well, she's pretty good at digging, I thought. So I says to her, you may eat as well as two, I told her, if you can get away. How about if we drive over to take little Mary back home tomorrow then? And I you can have a visit while I go and set out a few traps, I told her. It's quite a spell since it was old Angelique's place, and you might have things to tell you after. That'll suit you to a too, she says. And not get another chance with the work coming on and all, to get out to the house for a long time. Well, I say, if we're going to get an early start, it's no use hanging around downstairs, I say. So the boss washed up and went to bed to hear this time and said our prayers.
Really, really amazing insight. And again, this was Frank J. Walters, his recording, the Red River Saga. And this is, I quote, "Things I heard along the road." And it's interesting in this story that they talk about making a trip. He's going with Jean Janes, his friend, to the fort, the things they see at the fort, the stuff that he picks up for his wife. And at the very end, when they're home, he's talking about picking Seneca root. and you can make a good living of picking Seneca root. And again, Frank J. Walter's recordings can be heard at the University of Manitoba Archives and Special Collections, and also the Manitoba School Boards. And it gives amazing insight into Bungi, the Red River dialect. And again, Merry Christmas, Meya Manito Okisikaw to everybody out there, and thanks for listening on my journey to keep Bungi, the Red River dialect, alive for future generations. Take care.